So, Brooklyn, tell me a little bit about your position as a manager and how you got to that position and where you're actually managing right now.
Yeah, so I'm with Family Video. There's about 800 stores, and about 5 years ago when I first started, they offered a management training program, and I interviewed for that position and was hired on to be trained, and it took about 6 months for the process. Once I was done through that, I took my training test where I had to run a store for an entire day being observed, and I passed, and they gave me my own store. So I've been running stores for about three years now.
Years.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, how do you, now since you do have a store, how do you and your team communicate?
You know, in the beginning, it used to be more just when they would come in, we'd talk about things, I'd have one-on-ones. But now, because of texting and technology and social media, we do a lot more stuff via social media. I've even started like Facebook group pages just for our store where, we can communicate about little things that come up. Otherwise, it's, a lot of paper binders and stuff like that. But people communicate easier with social media, so we're kind of getting away from the paper binders.
How do you feel about hiring and firing employees? What do you usually look for when you're hiring?
So honestly, when I first meet somebody, when I'm hiring, I pretty much know right away whether or not I want to move forward with a thorough interview. If they make a very good impression with me right away, it's going to be a better interview process. I'll still continue the interview if I don't get that great first impression, but they'll have to kind of like win me back in their favor on whether or not I want to hire them. But once I do, we actually give them a test that they have to pass. And so if I'm putting somebody through that test process, I am definitely confident that they should be working with us.
So, yeah, well, how about firing?
Yeah, so firing it's difficult. In the beginning when I had to fire people, you never really feel great about it. But in the beginning, I would be very nervous about it. I didn't want to hurt people's feelings. But as I matured as a manager, you start to realize that if that individual either cannot be trained, they're just not able to learn the job, or if they did something significant enough where, you're past the write-ups and the things that led up to it, then you have to let them go. And it's better for the team. If you can get rid of somebody that isn't performing, it's going to be it's going to make things positive for everybody else, believe me. I've had circumstances where maybe somebody shouldn't have been on the team as long, but for whatever reason they were, and it brought everyone else down. And as soon as that person was let go, morale went back up, everybody liked coming to work again. And so I've learned to just be aware, everybody's not going to be the perfect fit forever, and that's okay.
Right. So what were your goals at work? How did you motivate your team to hit the goal every month?
Yeah, so our goals, we did have actually sales, we do have sales that we work on and goals. They're small sales, but it's still an active part of every day. And the other motivating factor is the overall operations movement of every day, like every shift that you're on. You need to be staying on top of all the activities that go with that. Inventories, movies coming in and out, and of course customer services are the thing that we are, probably why we're still in business, honestly, in a video rental situation is because of our customer service. So motivating people kind of comes from many different facets. So you might have somebody who doesn't sell as much, but they're really great at customer service. And so usually that happens, a situation happens like that a lot. And what I find is if you can help your staff realize that great customer service also includes offering sales to your customers, that makes a huge difference. A lot of times people think of it as two different entities, like, well, I'm not good at sales, but I really love my customer service. When you say, well, if you don't offer Mr. Smith, who comes in here every day, our half off discount, that's not good customer service for him. Don't you think he wants to save money? And so by helping them see it from a different angle, really helps hit those goals. And then as far as inventories and then the daily functions like the drop box and all that, then you look at how does it affect the rest of the team. So if they're not able to complete their tasks, then it's going to hurt the other people later on in the day, and the next day, and so on and so forth. So if you can help everybody kind of see it as a team effort instead of just like their individual, what they're doing, I think it goes a long way.
Did you offer rewards, or was there like parties, things like you
Yeah,
did to motivate
definitely.
them?
Yeah, we've had different contests, pizza party if everybody hit their numbers, even just, at the end of this weekend, whoever has the most sales, I'm buying them lunch, like things like that is really fun. If you can get everybody involved and excited about it makes a world of difference.
And how do you evaluate like a person's performance?
Yeah, and there's many factors to that. Some of the things we've already kind of covered, like their sales, customer service. I like to sit down and have one-on-ones with everybody to see how they're doing, whether or not they're doing good or bad. Just like touch on things to always kind of keep them on track. And then every once in a while we'll do a performance review, which is formal, where we'll sit down and kind of tell them what's going on. Usually raises involved, and keep them on track that way.
Nice. So, I mean, I know you've been management for a while now. What do you think is the most common thing that people fail at when they do become managers?
Oh, when they become managers, yes, definitely not wanting to hurt people's feelings. So not being like a manager of your team. A lot of times there are, like in everyday life, they might be your peers. Potentially. And as a new manager, you have to be able to operate on that level. So sometimes it's hard for people to make that switch, but I think if you go in and just try to be fair, and especially when somebody maybe needs improvement, and hit it head on, you're going to be in a better boat. I mean, I remember one of the things I was sort of nervous about in the beginning was a particular employee was wearing something that, I mean, in everyday life she looks super cute, but like it's not going to work for her job, and I had to address this, like something, that's a hard thing to talk to somebody about their appearance, and it was difficult, but I said to her, hey, you look so cute, but I don't think that skirt's going to work out here for, you're not going to be able to do your job on a daily basis if you wear that type of thing.
Right.
And that employee said, oh, I'm so sorry, absolutely no problem. And they changed that, and you have to hit it head on and not skirt around it or be afraid to address things.
How do you feel about micromanaging?
I'm only a fan of it if somebody really needs it.
Okay.
I have a very laid back outlook on managing. I want to treat people like adults. I have a very laid back management style. I like to treat people as adults. They're trained to do the job. People sometimes need more training or more one-on-one, but I'm always going to start out expecting you to be able to handle yourself as an employee full on, as an adult that can do it. I start to micromanage when somebody persistently either doesn't do their things they need to do, or like they're fine while I'm there, and then when I'm not there, the things aren't getting done, or the sales aren't happening, or whatever. And that's when I start to micromanage. But I always do it with the goal of getting them back to being independent.
Nice. And I mean, okay, well, lastly, how do you describe yourself as a manager? How is your relationship with all your employees at work?
Really good. I think we do really well. We perform well. I do love building teams. As I said earlier, it's a goal to always have a great team and to make sure that either if there's an individual that's not meeting the standards, that either I'm coaching them or letting them go, because that keeps the whole team solid. And also it lets your team trust you and trust that you're going to make the right decisions for the team, not just for myself as like a manager maybe trying to move up, or not just for the corporation, or not just for the store, but like the staff, and so everybody feels that same way. And you'll even see when you do it that way that individuals will actually coach each other, and that's huge, so that when you're not in the store, something comes up, hey, let me show you how to do that. Actually, it's really, really easy, or whatever. It's amazing. That can go a long way.
Perfect. Well, I mean, my interview questions are done with you. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Just thanks for interviewing me. This was really fun. I haven't really thought about these questions specifically in a long time. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.